In just about any system of belief, there's the stuff you have to do, and then there's the stuff you choose to do. Today, we're going to dive into that second category when it comes to Islamic worship, the incredibly powerful and personal world of voluntary prayer. It all kind of kicks off with this really simple but honestly profound conversation. So a man comes up and wants to know the absolute fundamentals of his faith. The answer he gets is crystal clear, 5 prayers a day. But then he asks this crucial follow-up question, is there anything else on me? And the response, no, unless you choose to. Wow, that right there just opens up a whole new dimension of devotion. And that simple exchange, it really gets to the very heart of what we're talking about today. This one question isn't just about piling on more prayers, it actually reveals a fundamental split in the very nature of worship itself.
So this is the core idea right here. On one hand, you've got the required stuff, the foundation, like the solid roots of a tree. But on the other hand, you have this huge open space for your own personal initiative. These are like the blossoming branches of worship that grow purely from a desire to get closer to God. It's the difference between obligation and, well, aspiration.
Okay, so let's break it down and get a little more precise. What exactly is the difference between these two kinds of prayer?
So the official term is Salat al-Tatawwu. At its heart, it's basically any prayer you offer that's not one of the 5 required ones. And the whole point, the sole intention, is just to seek nearness to God. It's a personal thing, not a public requirement.
All right, now this is where it gets really interesting, because this chart lays out the stakes so clearly. For both types of prayer, if you do them, you get rewarded. Great. But look at the difference when it comes to omission. Missing a required prayer? That's a serious matter. You're punished for it. Missing a voluntary one? Nope, no punishment. And that distinction is absolutely crucial. It guarantees that voluntary prayer always stays an act of love, not an act of compulsion.
Okay, so if it's not required, you might be asking, why do it? Well, the tradition spells out 2 absolutely profound benefits that make voluntary prayer one of the most powerful tools for your spiritual growth. So what are these profound benefits? Let's jump into the first one.
The first benefit is, well, it's pretty much the goal of any believer, right? Earning the love of God. While the obligatory acts establish your obedience, it's these voluntary acts that really show a deep, personal desire for a closer relationship.
And this sacred narration, a hadith Qudsi, just illustrates the point perfectly. It says that the servant keeps drawing nearer and nearer with these extra works until God says, I love him. It's laid out as a direct path to earning divine love. It's incredible. The second benefit is just so practical. Think of it like a spiritual safety net. I mean, we're human, right? Our focus during our required prayers can sometimes be, let's just say, less than perfect. Our minds wander, we get distracted. Well, that's where voluntary prayers come in to help. And this leads to this amazing act of divine mercy. On the day of judgment, when all our deeds are being looked at, any little gap or shortfall in our obligatory prayers gets patched up and completed by these voluntary ones. They literally fill in the gaps, making our foundational worship whole and complete.
So what does this actually look like in daily life?
Well, the most common type of voluntary prayer is directly tied to the 5 obligatory ones, weaving these extra moments of devotion all throughout the day. These are known as the Sunnah al-Rawatib, and you can think of them like a frame around a beautiful painting. They prepare your heart for the main event, the obligatory prayer, or they kind of seal it with even more devotion right after.
This table lays out that daily rhythm perfectly. See how they sort of bookend the main prayers? You've got 2 units right before the dawn prayer, Fajr, and then a whole cluster around the midday prayer, Duha. These aren't just random additions. They're like a spiritual warm-up and cool-down. And consistently performing these 12 units, that's seen as a way to build this beautiful structure of worship around those core pillars.
Now, beyond that daily routine, there's another amazing category of voluntary prayers. Each one is designed for a special time, a specific need, or a unique purpose. Let's touch on 4 of the most powerful examples. We're talking about everything from the quiet intimacy of the night prayer, to the buzzing community energy of Ramadan prayers, to a prayer that can bring a moment of peace to your workday, and even one that helps you make huge life decisions. First up, the night prayer, or Qiyam al-Layl. This is often called the most virtuous prayer after the required ones. This is the prayer you do in the deep stillness of the night, when the rest of the world is asleep. It's a time for a really intimate conversation with God and a powerful way to seek forgiveness. Next, we have the Tarawih prayer, which is totally unique to the holy month of Ramadan. And unlike the solitude of the night prayer, this one is all about vibrant, community-focused worship.
Done together in mosques, it's like a marathon of devotion that carries this immense reward, the forgiveness of your past sins.
Then there's the Duha prayer. This is such a beautiful practice for the mid-morning. You know, after the morning rush has settled and the workday's in full swing, this is a moment to just pause, step away from your desk or whatever you're doing, and just reconnect with your spiritual center.
And finally, the istikhara prayer, which is just fascinating. This is a prayer specifically for guidance. When you're facing a huge decision, a job offer, a marriage proposal, anything, you can pray these 2 units and ask God directly to guide your heart toward whatever is best. It completely transforms the anxiety of making a big decision into a profound act of trust. So we end up right back where we started, with a simple choice. Beyond that foundation of what's required, there's this wide open path of voluntary action. It's a path that mends our mistakes, deepens our connection, and as we've seen, it's a direct route to divine love. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When you choose to do more than what's asked of you, how does that single choice begin to shape not just your spiritual life, but the very person you become?